Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. NVIDIA made a big jump today, more than my expectation. So that's a good thing. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA upside potential for this week and future price assessment using fundamentals, data analysis, and technical charts. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 109.39. It made a high 117.19. It made a low 107.42 and it closed at 116.78. That is 8.03% up. In my previous videos, if you remember, I expected that this week will be good for Nvidia. And this week, Nvidia should close positive versus last week. But Nvidia did this upside more than I expected. I was expecting it will take a little more time for Nvidia to get back to 115 level. I was expecting maybe sometime early next week Nvidia should be touching 115 based on my previous videos. But it's a good sign Nvidia started gaining more positive momentum. But one thing you can notice early this morning Nvidia went down and there was no positive momentum on Nvidia. But sometime, before noon, Nvidia gained positive momentum and it closed about 8% up today. And one of the major reason, probably I'm guessing, is Mr. Jensen Huang's speech today. We'll talk about this in a bit and also some other good news regarding Nvidia. We'll also discuss those news later in this video. And also, the CPI data that came this morning is also aligned with my expectation. Let's take a look. So, overall CPI, you see that the actuals just match the forecast. So, I was not expecting actuals come lower than the forecast. So, my expectation was actual will either match the forecast or it would come higher than the forecast. Now, let's take a look core CPI. Regarding the core CPI, the actuals just matched the forecast 3.2% versus 3.2%. I was expecting core CPI to come lower than the forecast, but I was not expecting actuals would come higher than the forecast. So at least actuals did not come higher than the forecast, it just matched the forecast. So it's not too bad. Besides Nvidia, overall market got positive momentum sometime around noon. Let's take a look. You see that S&P started gaining momentum sometime around 11 o'clock Eastern time, and also same behavior you would see with Nasdaq. You see that around this time frame started gaining momentum, and same with the Dow Jones. So moving back to Nvidia, in last 5 days, Nvidia about 11.3% up. Last 1 month, it got positive today, about 7%. Last 6 months is still up 36%. And year to date, you can notice 142% up so far. So I guess a few days back when Nvidia was around 102 or 103, that was a good time to buy Nvidia and keep it for some time. And the more upside this week would depend on other economic data gonna be reported this week and also news around Nvidia. Let's take a look economic calendar. So tomorrow we have core PPI and the PPI. That's important. And also Friday, I do not see anything big coming up. And next week, you see that we have FOMC meeting and the interest rate cut decision. And that should add volatility to the market next week. Now, let's take a look forward P for Nvidia. Nvidia forward P at this point is at 37.92, much higher than yesterday and also last week closing, and going in the right direction. As I mentioned yesterday, based on the forward PE, NVIDIA had more upside potential for this week. So forward P yesterday was suggesting NVIDIA should gain more momentum to go further up. Palantir 102.50, much higher than the last week closing. SMCI 14.02. So it was a good day for SMCI as well today. AMD at this point is 38.92, much higher than the last week closing. Now let's take a look some data analysis for this quarter versus the last quarter. So as you can notice in this file, at this point, NVIDIA is up about 0.29% positive from the last earnings announcement. And that happened on 28th August last month. So as of early this week, you notice Nvidia was negative about 7 or 8%, and I made a comment that based on the cumulative percentage change early this week, there are more chances that Nvidia would show some recovery in next few days. And if you take a look at the graph, you see that Nvidia entered in the positive region, more than 0%. Now let's take a look technical chart for Nvidia. You see 180-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen. As you can notice, MACD gained more positive momentum and is showing a very steep curve and a very strong momentum at this point. So as we noted yesterday, MACD entered in the positive region, and based on the MACD, I made an observation that it should carry the positive momentum in next few days as well. So at this point, you see this positive steep curve looks similar to this one, and you can notice that after touching somewhere here, it started going down. So same thing can happen probably later this week, some dip on Nvidia, a little dip, not much, before it start going further up. Now let's take a look Bollinger Bands. So looking at the Bollinger Bands, you can see that Nvidia stock chart is going in parallel to the upper band, and that shows a very strong momentum on Nvidia. So as we observed yesterday that the gap between the upper band and the lower band was contracting, you see, but the good thing I pointed out that Nvidia stock chart is above 20-day moving average, so that showed some positive momentum, and that also showed that this momentum should carry in the future as well. So this big gap between upward and the lower band I was not expecting today. I was expecting some volatility or some upside movement, but not much. So based on the Bollinger Bands, there is a slight chance that in next day or two, Nvidia may take a little dip. So I'm expecting something like this. You see the steep curve here, and after touching the upper band or crossing the upper band, you see some drop, right? So same thing probably might happen this time as well. But you never know, right? If more good news regarding Nvidia in the market in next few days, then probably Nvidia would carry the positive momentum further as well. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see the Fibonacci levels on your screen. So based on the Fibonacci levels, as we noted yesterday, 115.7 was a strong resistance level, and Nvidia was able to break it this morning, but is still trading around 116. So let's see tomorrow if Nvidia can go further up and try to test 125 level in next few days or not. But based on my understanding, from 115 to 125, it might take more time. So probably a little dip and then go further up. On the lower side, you see the next level of support is 108, and after that is 100, and that's a very strong support. Now let's take a look news regarding Nvidia. Let's take a look this one market experts key takeaway from Nvidia CEO remarks. So as you noted, we had Mr. Jensen Huang's speech today. Let's take a look. So probably in his speech today, he made some positive remarks regarding Blackwell chips. So you can see here from this analysis that says S&P Global Visible Alpha, and that made a comment that Mr. Jansen talking about Blackwell chips were compelling after he spoke on Wednesday at the Goldman Sachs and Technology Conference. So that's a good thing. So another good one regarding Nvidia that says Nvidia shares are trading higher, possibly following a report suggesting the US government may allow Nvidia to export its AI chips to Saudi. And now this one, and that should be good for Nvidia as well. It says that Oracle expanding cloud infrastructure offerings to meet growing AI demand. So Oracle could be another good customer for NVIDIA AI chips. So another one regarding Mr. Jansen Huang. So in his speech, he addressed the big question on investors' mind. So looks like he was positive regarding NVIDIA's future outlook. So he did not make a comment that can go negative for NVIDIA stock. And another one regarding Oracle, it says that Oracle has become an AI powerhouse. Nuclear reactors are playing a role. So that's again maybe a good future opportunity for NVIDIA. So as we notice overall, we see that more investment on the AI sector from different companies. So good for NVIDIA. The future outlook looks good. The only thing is probably NVIDIA has to work more on improving the margins and the earning per share. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. So as you see that in my watch list, all the AI stocks and other tech stocks are positive today. The highest positive change is on Nvidia, that is 8.15%, and the lowest positive change is on Palantir, that is 0.26%. So that's all about Nvidia analysis and assessment for this week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.